What's up? Thanks for coming back through. Today we are going to review a shoe from a company of dubious distinction. I am not a massive fan of this brand, but I think I am becoming a fan of this shoe. So first we'll give you a brief history of my connection to this brand and why I feel the way I do. Then we will get into the actual shoe itself. Today, we are talking about the STREAMLINE from Athletic Propulsion Labs. As I said, this shoe and I already have a history before we met. So we had to work through a few things. Years ago, I'm talking maybe... Oh man, I can't even remember the actual date that it was produced. Before Athletic Propulsion Labs ever signed on with Lululemon and ever became a super popular, I don't even know if they're super popular. Athletic Propulsion Labs launched with a shoe that supposedly got banned in the NBA. As in, people were not allowed to wear this shoe. And that shoe was banned because it supposedly had spring capabilities in it. And we are talking about the Concept 1 from APL. Now, you might notice that this shoe is a little bit derivative of a few other things. It's got some Jordan look. It's got some And One look. It's got a lot going on. The cushioning was not very good to begin with, but the big thing was their load and launch, which supposedly was supposed to give you mad hops. Not able to dunk, wear these shoes, dunk. Many people cut this shoe open to find rusty little springs that didn't have enough compression, that really wouldn't have given you a big launch. It was a gimmick. Now, I won this special edition in a contest. Didn't expect that I would win. I did win. I'm sure that they were looking for some favorable hype from someone who was in the sneaker world. They did not get that from me because I just didn't think that the shoe was up to quality. But they were the tip of the spear for something very, very important that was happening in the culture, both athletically and from a fashion and style perspective. People were starting to buy and identify with a brand based purely on hype. You could say something online. It did not have to be true. You get a minor endorsement because you're giving a bunch of free gear. You get favorable reviews because you're giving a bunch of free gear. And pretty soon you're on to something. Well, that's what happened with the Concept 1. The Concept 1 did not necessarily blow up, but it led the way to Athletic Propulsion Labs becoming a legitimate, or at least seen as a legitimate shoe company. And I'm getting the rough parts out of the way early. I really do have some stuff to talk about with the STREAMLINE. But I must get a few things out of the way because they are a derivative company. It looks as if someone who's a fan of sneakers but doesn't really know how to design them, designed these. All of their shoes have that look to them. Now, remember I said hype. Most hype is driven toward younger audiences. But this particular hype that they were going for, they shifted their market really hard. Again, the Concept 1 was the first shoe that they came out with. They thought for sure they were going to take on the NBA. They were going to be the startup that could battle with Nike and Adidas and Reebok and other brands. It didn't pan out that way. But I will give them credit. They made a pivot that seemed to really be lucrative for them monetarily, but then also from a hype perspective, they latched on to the audience that really, really could push them. Upper middle class women with disposable income. Athletic Propulsion Labs decided to sell their ideas and their wares and connect with Lululemon. So they became the in-house sneaker brand for an already athletic inspired, quasi-athletic brand of women's wear that was blowing up. Boom. Fish in a barrel. They had their audience, and now they could push the hype in the way that they had initially started out that didn't exactly work out that way. Well, when they moved into running shoes and sort of lifestyle leisure shoes, they're on a lot of people's feet now. They have some other lower end offerings. They aren't that comfortable. They're very thin. Again, their design taste is very derivative. It looks like a mid-range Puma. It looks like a Skechers. It looks like a few other brands that you might have seen out there. The Streamline is no exception. When I say derivative, I do mean derivative. Tell me if the Streamline, which is a more recent iteration, looks oddly familiar to a Nike Zoom Fly SP. I mean, you're looking at what could be the next model of that shoe. The translucent nylon mesh that lets you see right through it. The concentric lines around the toe and the side. That's the disappointing part about APL. I love obscure brands that aren't the mainstream. Like I said, I've got No Bulls up there. I've got Kraft over here from Sweden. I've got Li Ning from China. There's a lot of brands that I pick up because I like to explore the non-ordinary. I like to find things that are off the beaten path. APL is so derivative that it's hard to get away from the fact that they look like another shoe. They look like the factory variant of a brand that you already know about. That's okay if you're making a good product, I suppose. Now, here's the other kicker for me, though. This shoe right here retails at $300 plus. $300. There's nothing about this shoe that is $300 special. It's just that they found their audience that has enough disposable income and has already spent $150 on a pair of tights to want the matching high-end shoe. But you're not getting anything that's different than a shoe that you can catch on sale at the outlet from a notable brand that is already setting the tone. It's wild, y'all. But the reason I got it was because I found them on 70% sale on the new Otrium app. Now, I'm not sponsored by Otrium. I just happened to find these shoes there. It was a bit wild. I thought for sure that, identity was going to get stolen and all that, but I figured I'd give it a shot. That's all the negative leaning stuff. Getting into some positives, these are hella comfortable. I'll give them that. So, upper, midsole, outsole like we always do, but you've seen the upper. I'm not going to show it again, but it's the Zoom Fly from years ago. The nylon mesh upper, hyper breathable. You can see right through it. Your socks are going to change the look of the shoe. So, unless you want to match up with some different colors, wear some white socks. Looks great. Looks great. It's comfy. That nylon mesh is interesting because the entire upper is that plasticky, rubbery type feel, including the tongue. Now, I wish they would have padded the tongue out just a little bit more, but again, they took notes directly from the SP, which also has that kind of tongue. That Zoom Fly SP, the APL Streamline. Same stuff. Same stuff. I wouldn't go sockless in these. And I wouldn't wear some of the booty socks. You need something that's going to come up. The laces are pretty interesting, but I kind of like them. This very slim twisted cord. But I like them. They hold really well. They cinch really good. The upper doesn't have any extra support to it. It's just the streamlines. Those overlays, those fused overlays are what provide the structure for the upper. You're fusing on the eye stays. Provide some pretty decent support. You've got a no-sew collar that goes all the way around. Again, with the translucent nylon mesh pull tab there. The APL logo on the insole, providing a little bit of cushioning, but little more than a Dr. Scholl's type insole that's glued in. It's been comfortable. I don't feel like I need much more than that. But if I was going to do this in a performance way, I'd probably borrow from my Crafts again and wear my CTM Piba insoles. Midsole. They're going with something called their Bright Foam. I don't know if it's a supercritical foam. There's not enough information about it, but it is a cushiony foam. I think it could just be a compression molded EVA. It's springy, very comfortable. It's a pretty high stack, and you're not sitting too deep in it, so you're up on top of most of that stack. You're just barely below the rim of that stack, so it's got a pretty high stack on the heel. It's got a good toe off, really surprisingly good in the toe box. I wasn't expecting the cushion to be this good in the toe, but it is. It's really comfy. Really, really comfy. They are saying, and I haven't seen this shoe broken apart. I haven't seen any pieces and parts like you sometimes see with other plated shoes. But their information says that there is a plate in this shoe. They don't say it's S-curved. They say it's slanted. I'm not sure if it simply follows some of those lines there. There is a pretty hefty heel to toe drop, 39 to maybe 33 at the least. Like, it's a pretty drastic drop, but the cushioning is soft and the transition is pretty good. The last of the shoe is straight. We don't talk last a lot anymore, but there is no curvature to this shoe. It is bone straight down the middle of the road. I have to see how that works out for my foot. This morning, I did an interval workout that got me about a mile. It was intervals of 30-second fartleks. So it comes out to be just over 200 meters, about 200 meter tempo runs with equal parts rest. So 30 seconds on, 1 minute 30 off, running at about 10 to 12 miles per hour. So good tempo. It held up fine. It held up just fine. Longevity, I'd have to see. I'd have to give it a few more runs. The Ultrium app has a ton of these on sale, so I might pick up another pair. I can get these for right around $100 now. So again, we're literally talking 70+% off when this is a $300 plus retail shoe, and I have seen people pay $300 for this shoe. Why would you? But if you can get them for 100, 120, completely worth it at that point. APL's price point is right at 120, 150 at max. It is not a $300 shoe, but again, the hype that is being driven by a particular brand connection with Lulu, their audience of a majority of women with disposable income who are fashion forward in the gym, athleisure at its best. I do know some people who do yoga and a few other things in them, but Lulu is mostly a fashion brand, an athletic fashion brand. And then you have your supposed high-end fashion shoe in-house connected to them. I see where the price point is coming from. It is not worth that price. But if you can get these on sale, half off, 70% off, scoop them. They're a good shoe. Got a pretty sticky translucent outsole that I actually do like. It's very, very good. A little bit snowy and icy out today. I had no problems. I'm willing to give this shoe props. This is what, let me grab one. Even in shape, this is what the Ultra Boost was initially. I believe this could have been a major, major go for them at that mid-range price point. You've got super shoes that are $300 now. This does not stack up against the super shoe. I'm sorry. It just does not. But that being said, if you get these for $150 or below, you're getting a good shoe. And that's saying a lot coming from me, who initially thought this brand to be pretty low end. Mostly gimmick, mostly hype. I still do feel like they are silhouettes designed by shoe fans, but not shoe designers. I'm liking the midsole tooling. I'm liking the outsole. We're going to give it a few more days of wear and see where we can go with it. I said I wasn't going to show that other one, but I got to. Like, I mean, really, come on, APL. What we doing here? What we doing here? It's the same shoe. APL Streamline. Hop on Ultream and scoop a few. Leave the 13s for me. Oh, I do have to mention that. I'm glad I said that in jest because I almost missed that. I am a natural 12. This shoe is a 13. Again, it is straight down the middle of the road, narrow. There is no bend or curvature to the last. The toe box is a bit shallow, so I would advise going up a size. I am a 12 and I fit this 13 perfectly. So their shoes run narrow and a bit short. The APL Streamline is a legit shoe that you have to find at a better price. That's positive, right? I get accused of being too positive, but I like the shoes that I get. I'm intrigued by the shoes that I get. I just happen to have a little bit of history with APL, and I don't think it's altogether high end, but they're going the right way if this is the route that we're going. All right, appreciate y'all coming through. There'll be more. You'll be here. I'll be here. Appreciate you. Start of the holidays. Happy holidays. Everybody be safe, and there'll be more to come. Peace.